So I found this post on the Pokey Investing subreddit that I wanted to share with you all. Here somebody's asking about the best way to sell an entire sealed collection. So it's a pretty large collection. So in this video, I want to give my advice to this person on what I would do if they were trying to sell all of their sealed products. So let's just see what they have here. So I don't give that much information on exactly what they have, how many different products, because that really matters. Does this person have just, a lot of expensive stuff? Maybe they only have a few hundred items. Or does this person have a lot of smaller items where maybe they have 1,000+ different items? For example, they could just have all booster boxes, all ETBs, like expensive stuff where, $153,276. I mean, if they have that in expensive stuff, maybe they have in Evolving Skies, they have it in Fusion Strike, maybe some Sun and Moon stuff. Like in that case, it wouldn't be that hard to sell this amount. But let's say, for example, they have a lot of modern stuff, maybe a lot of Scarlet and Violet stuff, maybe a lot of booster bundles, a lot of sleeve packs, stuff like that. It makes it a little bit different to sell, and my advice would be different depending on what exact products they have. But there's not much to go off here, so I have to give some general advice. But you can see here, they show their most valuable products, so we can at least see somewhat of what they have. So it looks like they have a Fusion Strike booster box case, which is their most valuable product at $7,000. They have a 151 PC ETB case at $5K, a 151 ETB case at $4.5K, and some other thing at $4K. So just based on this, I mean, if you take their top four stuff, what is this? Maybe like $20K. There's still 130,000 left, so they probably have a good amount of items. They probably have maybe mid-high hundreds. So let's just see some context here, and I'll give my advice for this person. Moving states in the next 12 months and ready to let go of sealed Pokemon, plus sealed Omi piece collection. Is it supposed to be one piece? Not sure. Located in Houston, next large TCG Expo is likely March 2026. But what other options have others done, seen / pursued for getting rid of a bulk collection? So let me just start this off the bat. Facebook Marketplace, okay? I like to buy from Facebook Marketplace. I've gotten many good deals, right? I've bought a lot in the past few months from there. Not so much just in the past, month, because there just hasn't been as many good deals. But when there was a bunch of, reprints and restocks at stores, I was buying on Facebook Marketplace. So that's a good place to buy from. One thing I will say, right, is that Facebook Marketplace selling wise, if you're the seller, it's honestly a hassle. Now, I haven't tried to recently sell on Facebook Marketplace because it's just, in my opinion, there's no point of selling on Facebook Marketplace when I can sell large amounts to a card store at like 80%, sometimes a little bit more. It makes no sense for me to have to deal with individual people here and there selling one box here, one box here. I've sold very high $1,000 amounts, even one time selling in the five figures. But it's just a hassle to deal with all these people. Now, does it hurt to list your item on Facebook Marketplace? No, it doesn't. It's free. It doesn't hurt anybody, right? But the thing is, it's a waste of time talking to all these people. Some flake on you, meeting up. You don't know if they're gonna just, you meet up and then they don't show up. Like, it's so much, stuff that you have to deal with, and you have to think to yourself, is it really worth going back and forth to maybe get a couple extra percents rather than maybe venturing out on some other options. Now, you may get lucky. You may meet a Pokemon investor. You may meet somebody who is willing to buy a large amount in a large quantity, maybe high four figures, maybe low or mid, five figures. You may be lucky and you find somebody like that. But for the most part, many people on Facebook Marketplace, they're looking to buy one box, two boxes. There are more people now investing, so maybe you'll get lucky and maybe somebody will message you on Facebook Marketplace who is serious about buying. But if you're trying to get rid of this stuff in a larger quantity, my last advice honestly would be Facebook Marketplace. It just would be a hassle. And then you have to figure out, okay, how are they going to pay you? Is it going to be cash? Is it going to be, all these other platforms, Zelle, Venmo? I don't know. In my opinion, I wouldn't venture out on Facebook Marketplace. It's just too much of a hassle. So what other options would I recommend? Because that's one of the ones that I wanted to, start off by talking about. I just don't recommend. I think it's just going to be too much of a hassle going back and forth with many different people. So one thing I'll say, and I mean, I even, maybe mentioned it in this video. I don't know if I did. But local car stores. I've sold accumulatively, right? Five figures, like over five figures, or not like, five figures in total, selling to local car stores. It is very easy to sell to local card stores. And especially right now in this market, things are pretty liquid. Especially this person has Fusion Strike, 151 stuff. Like, local card stores are going to buy this stuff. No doubt about it. Okay. Obviously, local card stores pay different amounts. Some local card stores pay 70%, 75%, 80%. In my opinion, for these types of products, Fusion Strike 151, I would take no less than 50%. That's just my personal opinion, because honestly, if you have a local card store that's paying 70% for a 151 or Fusion Strike, like these products, at that point, you might want to individually sell your more higher items, maybe then on Facebook Marketplace, because, it's, one product instead of, a whole like list of stuff. And I mean, then maybe Facebook Marketplace would be better, because if you could just list one thing and somebody's like serious about it, then it's not as bad as, trying to sell like a large amount to one person. Maybe that would be an option. But for your, top products, 151, like Sword and Shield, good Sword and Shield, products, sets, I would take no less than 80%. If you're selling to a local card store. But that's like one of the places right now that is so easy to sell, and you can sell in large amounts. Why is that the case? Well, a lot of stores just don't have a lot of product, right? A lot of stores get stuff from new releases, sells out usually pretty quickly, and then they're left with pretty much nothing. So they're left to have to buy from the open market, because you can't buy from distribution right now because there's just nothing there. So you can take advantage and sell to a local card store. And like I said, you can sell, I'm telling you, I guess it depends on the size of your local card store. But if it's a pretty large one, it's pretty busy, I think you can easily sell low to mid five figures. Obviously it depends on their whole situation, everything. But from my experience, I don't think it would be that hard to sell that amount of money in one go. Now, multiply this by maybe there's some other card stores around you. Maybe sell, 20, 30,000 to one, sell 20, 30,000 to another one. And maybe it's even worth driving maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours away to go to all these stores. And honestly, if you can find enough stores willing to buy all this stuff, you can maybe sell all your stuff within a couple of weeks. I think that's possible, but it depends exactly, where you are. They said they're in Houston, in Texas. So there may be a lot of places, I don't know, but that is definitely one of the big options right now. I would say it's a great option. If you can sell, like I said, at 80%, maybe the lower end items, 70, 75%, whatever, and you can just dump everything off at a store and get Zelle, get cash, get whatever, right? Whatever payment method, and not have to worry about anything. I think that's a very good option right now. And that's what I've been doing in the past year. That's where I've, sold to, because I've been able to get 80%. And for me, if I'm selling large amounts, I'm perfectly fine, not getting an extra 5%, where if I were to sell online, I'm perfectly fine with that. So that's my biggest, I guess advice for this person. Local car stores right now, look around you. If you can get in contact with a few of them, list items, they give you, at least 80% for these good ones, maybe 75% for the not as good ones. I think that's, if you're trying to sell a large amount, that's an option I would definitely venture out to. But other than that, what are some other options? Cards, I guess card shows is one of those things, but they mentioned, I don't think they're really interested in that. Card shows, but a lot of card shows are mainly slabs and stuff, like sealed, maybe for high-end sealed, like smaller items, but for selling bulk, like maybe large amounts of ETBs and stuff, there's probably people that would buy. But a lot of those card shows are mainly slabs, but it's an option. You can try to vend, but I mean, if you're vending, you're gonna have to sit there, work, deal with people. That's another, whole deal. So, card shows is another thing you could do, but it seems like you don't want to do that. Lastly, online, there's a lot of these, auction or, I guess consignment services out there, Probstein, and there's some other ones. There's a lot of other auction ones, but that's just the most known one. And you can auction your stuff there. You would obviously have to go through the process of shipping the stuff and figuring out how that works. I've never done it, but I plan on doing it possibly in the future. But people have said it's fine. Some people, have used other ones as well. You can do your research and figure out which one works best for you. I heard also some people just they just buy it outright, like those auction services, and then they'll just sell it themselves. So that's definitely another platform you could go to, is consignment. But my biggest one, honestly, would just be selling to card stores, because literally right now it is so easy to get high percentage off of market, and it's so easy to just dump it and get the cash the same day. And there's gonna be people out there that'll be like, well, why don't you try to get another 5-10% selling online, all this stuff. Well, if you can get cash in hand and just get it over with, 5-10%, yes. If you do the percentages of 150,000, 5% of that is what, like 7,500. If you do 10%, that's like 15 grand. Is that a lot of money? Yes, but then you have to think about all like the logistics of shipping, all this stuff. I don't know what they have like in totality, right? We're only seeing the top 4 stuff, but that would be my advice for this person. Check, contact local card stores. That's definitely my biggest advice for this person. After that, I'd probably just maybe try to list a few things on Facebook Marketplace, like one product here and there, maybe. But from what I've seen and heard, it's just a hassle of selling to people. They're gonna try to negotiate, lowball. It's just a lot. So maybe if you sell to some card stores, maybe you sell to multiple around your area. Maybe the more higher end items, if they don't offer enough percentage, maybe then try consignment services. But I've never done it, but I plan on to in the future. So let's just see some of the comments and see what people say. Collecticon is October 25th to 26th in Houston. You could probably sell a lot there. So this person went some other con. People were selling for outrageous prices, but I do agree it's a great way to get product. Just know, as someone who bought a suitcase worth of sealed, a lot of vendors do not buy or trade for sealed. Most of the reason being it's hard to move or not having the space to carry sealed for the next show. So that is something to know. That's what I was talking about. Like, a lot of people just do slabs because people don't want to haul around all that stuff, or a lot of people go to the cons for slabs. It's worth noting I have zero expectation of getting anywhere near theoretical value. I am just interested in what others have seen or experienced. Card shows will be good. Lots of vendors buying, listing them on eBay, sending to an auction house. First attempt would be to contact local stores and try to negotiate around 75%. This way you can get them to come to you, take care of transit, and you just invoice them and it's done. Most will offer around 60-ish. Imagine getting offered 60% on Fusion Strike Booster Box case, liquid items 80% minimum. Yeah, I agree. 60% is crazy. I mean, if you're selling anything at 60%, you might as well just list it on eBay, if I'm being honest, and just deal with the hassle of shipping and doing whatever. Selling at 60 at this point in the market for especially out of print sought after products is ridiculous. For a Fusion Strike box, 60%. If your store is offering 60% for Fusion Strike, I'm not selling there, because you can literally sell anywhere else and get more than that. Let someone like ProbeSteam handle it. They'll pay out 85-90% depending on value of item. Second this, send to ProbeSteam. Anything above 1,000 will earn you 95%. I've personally sold with ProbeSteam in average 87%, and only had a few cards that sold above 1,000. Additionally, you won't get the tax form at the end of the year. Consolidate around $20,000 and plan on doing it this way. Super easy with minimal effort. Your base expense is going to be shipping, but that all costs probably the same as renting a table at a major event. So just some of my advice for this person. You guys can let me know, what would you do? Would you consign? Would you try to vend yourself? Would you try to sell to vendors? Or would you just try to sell to local card stores? Because that's honestly what I would do at this amount, is sell to multiple of them. And I think if you have enough card stores around you, you could probably sell this entire amount in probably a few weeks. But what do you guys think about this? Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.